The only way to become wealthy is to work on your subconscious mind, because all of the financial decisions that we take, the actions, that's only 5%. If you only have one income stream, you need to start thinking about other income streams right now, because it is risky to have just one income stream. We need to work hard, and working hard is a badge of honor. If you're working hard, you're doing the right thing. You're earning the things. You deserve things. Welcome to Blisstopia podcast. I'm your host, Mercedes Castellani, life purpose coach, business owner, and your spiritual guide on all things mindset, manifestation, and purpose. This podcast is a space for deep reflections, meaningful conversations to help you expand your mind, dive into the depths of your soul, and create a life that makes you feel alive. Whether you're walking, driving, or simply vibing, take a deep breath and get ready to dive. Hello, my love. Welcome to another episode of Blisstopia podcast. I'm your host, Mercedes Castellani, and it is 11:11 as I start recording this episode. Oh my God. Since I've been, talking about money and wealth, etc., and launching wealth codes, I have had a lot of angel numbers. Yesterday, I opened up my phone to launch wealth codes, which is my new money mindset program. And I saw 1111 and my followers was 5,008. And I'm like, could this be more aligned? And now I see it. I'm here ready to record this episode and I see 1111. So let me tell you, the universe wanted me to create this program wealth codes, and the universe wants you to be wealthy. This is all orchestrated divinely. You and I were supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be recording this episode for you. You're supposed to be listening to this episode. This is all divinely orchestrated, and I am deeply convinced of that. So today we're going to talk about the story I never told about money. I very recently, last week, I did a masterclass called Money Talks. Several of you were in there. We had a lot of fun. That was super cool. And basically in that masterclass, I shared my story with money, my journey with money, which is something I never opened up about before, either on the podcast or on Instagram or on masterclasses, etc. I had been talking about other topics, other parts of my history, and I had never actually told my story from this point of view, the point of view of money. Basically, today I wanted to bring this story also to the podcast and open up about my whole journey with money, with wealth, and really my hope after this podcast episode is to really give you the inspiration as to what is possible, what we can actually achieve in this lifetime, how we can actually change and evolve and grow in this lifetime. You know that in this podcast, I talk a lot about spirituality and purpose, and I've always been very open and I went very deep on sharing my own personal story in terms of my own spirituality, my own spiritual journey, my life path. And my hope is always when I share this story so that you can see what is possible, so that I can be an expander for you and you can see what is actually out there, what people out there right next to you, they're doing, what are they achieving. This is so important for the subconscious mind, because when we see other people, other women just like us do the things that we want to do, it tells our brain, it tells our subconscious mind, this is possible. I can actually have that as well. And always when you hear a story, when you see someone who's thriving, I want you to always think this phrase: if this is possible for her, it's possible for me too. We're never in competition. We're never, in different speeds. We are all the same. Law of oneness. We're all the same. Imagine the hand. We're all just different fingers of the same hand. We're all literally the same. So what is possible for one person is possible for you. So my aim with this podcast is to share my story with money, my journey with money. And I'm going to be absolutely transparent. Where did I start? There were some privileges in that start, and there were also not privileges in that start. And also my current relationship with money and my current financial life. So let's start by the very beginning. I was born in Argentina. I imagine you already know this. I was born in a middle class family. So my parents were very, very hardworking people. My dad was a civil engineer. My mom was a biochemist. And basically, they did have education. So they did go to college and they did have education. But they were very, 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 very hardworking. I would say when I grew up, we were actually like low middle class because we were always kind of struggling. Even though my parents were educated, the context of Argentina made it so difficult for them that we were always struggling. So my parents were really extremely hardworking people. And the same for my grandparents. They were all very hardworking people. I come from immigrants from Spanish, Italian, Hungarian people who ended up in Argentina. And of course, as you can imagine, immigrants, they're always really, really working hard because they want to thrive and succeed in life. So I come from a lineage of a lot of different immigrants who ended up in Argentina, Italians that ended up creating a company in Argentina with a lot of hard work, Spanish that ended up working also really hard in Argentina, Hungarians who ended up working really, really hard in Argentina. And mostly recently, I discovered that there's also a part of my story, which is not well known, but there was also some pockets of wealth, but it was never actually really introduced to the family due to some like family secrets and drama and stuff. Basically, the part of the history that we know, the part of the history that I know about my own family is that they were all very, very hardworking people. Parents, my dad was not in our home from Monday until Friday. He was always working in business trips every week from Sunday night until Friday night. And he would only be with us from Friday night until Sunday night. So the weekend, and not even a full weekend. So he was working extremely hard. My mom was a biochemist. She was doing night shifts on Monday and then working the whole week from Monday to Friday. So they were really, really, really hard working people. Educated, yes. So that was a privilege. That is not the case in every family. And I do recognize that privilege, but they were extremely, extremely hardworking people. So they did manage to give us a good education. We did go to a private, not so expensive, but it was a good primary and high school. So we did get good education. We did have all of our needs met. We always had the same house. We never lacked a roof. We always had food. We never starved. We were never hungry. So that is a privilege. That is not the case for everybody. We always had education. We always had a roof. We always had food. And that is a privilege. But that was it. It was just enough to cover our needs. That was it. We could never go into our wants. We could never have that extra Barbie, that extra toy, that extra thing, extra pens that shine and that every girl wants. We could never have the extra things. We could only have just enough to cover our needs. And in my family, my grandparents, my great grandparents, my own parents, there was always this sense of we need to make sacrifices. We need to work hard. And working hard is a badge of honor. If you're working hard, you're doing the right thing. You're earning the things. You deserve things. So they were extremely hardworking. And my mom was always anxious about money, always anxious, always fearful that we wouldn't have enough because she was the one handling the finances. So basically, because my dad wasn't at home during the week, he would basically, as soon as he would receive his salary, he would give pretty much all of his money to my mom. And then my mom would handle the finances. So on one side, that's a cool thing because I did see a woman handling finances, which is not the case in many families. Usually, up until now, usually it's the man that handles the finances. So I was lucky to see my mom handling the finances. The issue is that she was always anxious about money. Because she was the one that was managing the money, she was always fearful, always anxious that we wouldn't have enough. And she was always buying the cheapest of any category in the supermarket, always the cheapest. So it's actually quite easy to go to the supermarket with her because it's always the cheapest. You just don't think you grab the cheapest. But the thing is that we grab our relationship with money from the caregiver that has our same sex. So in my case, I grabbed the relationship with money from my mom. So that anxiety was passed on to me. My dad, on the other side, he was always saying no, 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 no. Can we do a certain trip? No. Can we do this thing? No. It was always no. Even though we could have with a little bit of effort, he was always like, no, no, no. So I grew up with this association of money equals tension, money equals anxiety, money equals having just enough. And when I started doing this whole money mindset transformation around my relationship with money, and I started doing somatic work, so integrating my body into the practices that I was doing, I realized that there was in my body this sense of coldness. Things are metallic, things are uncomfortable. And it is because in my home, we always had a roof, but things were cold, things were metallic, things were uncomfortable. Like it was not nice to be in my home. It was always cold, big, metallic, uncomfortable. And then I had to actually do this work, go into my body and rewire my body for new sensations, rewire my body for comfort, rewire my body for warmth, rewire my body for things that are beautiful and tidy and clean. And I had to integrate all of these things inside of my body because our subconscious mind is in our body. So we need to integrate the body into the work that we do. Now, it is important to say that I was born in Argentina. And Argentina is one of the most unstable countries and economies in the world. Last year in 2024, we had a 117% inflation. And it's just wild. Like people in Europe are complaining about a 3, 4, 7, 10% inflation. In Argentina, we had 117% inflation. So imagine that prices more than doubled in 1 year. And that's just 1 year. Imagine the history of Argentina. What can happen within a decade if in 1 year prices are doubling? So what happens is that in Argentina, you talk to any Argentinian, there is collective money trauma because we all grew up with this very unstable economy. So the beliefs that we hold about money are you can't trust money, you could lose it all, money flies away. Money, it's not an energy that we trust because we've seen our parents, our grandparents maybe put their money on the bank and then not being able to grab that money the next day. So this truly happened in 2001. People had their savings in a bank account and they had their life savings, like their whole savings in bank accounts. And then they went to the bank and they were like, no, you cannot access your money. What? No, you cannot access your money. And they didn't receive their money back or they received peanuts compared to what they actually had put in the bank. So this is trauma that is stored in our bodies and it's collective money trauma that is there. So what did I do? Basically, I realized that if I wanted to succeed in life, I needed to work really, really, really hard. So I worked really hard. And working hard was studying hard when I was in primary school, secondary school, and university. So I can guarantee that I was studying hard as fuck, working hard as fuck. And that did lead me somewhere. I was always top student or in the top 3, top 5, always top student, always great grades in primary school, in high school, in university, always, absolutely always. And that hard work allowed me to progress in life. So I am very grateful to the version of me who would wake up at 5 a.m. and study a little bit more just before the exam. I am really grateful to that version of me who put in the hours because thanks to that hard work, I was able to study in the best business school in Argentina, which is a private school that my parents could not afford, with a 100% scholarship. And then, because I worked extremely hard in the best business school in Argentina, I was able to gain another 100% scholarship in the top 3 business school in France. It's the Ivy League of France, basically. And I went there and I didn't pay for any of my studies. In both cases, they were actually paying me. So in Argentina, I had a scholarship where not only I didn't pay the tuition fee, but they were paying me kind of like a salary every month that was coming from the university itself. And then in France, I didn't pay for my tuition fees, and actually they were paying me to study, and that came from the French government. I had another scholarship from the French government, and they were actually paying me to study in the top 3 business school in France. So hard work allowed me to progress in life. And on top of doing all of these studies and of course succeeding as a student, I was always that kind of like, the super active person in the class that is always doing stuff and always achieving. And it's kind of like the president of the class and creating a club for this and doing that other thing. I created, I don't know how many associations in my life. I was the president of I don't know how many classes in my life. I was always the one that was studying hard and that was doing all of these kind of things and having a lot of fun. Frankly, I loved all of these things. But the issue was that I was always restless, always doing, always achieving. And deep down, all of this was happening because I had a worth. My self-worth was based on my achievements. In my mind, it was like, I do, therefore I am. I do, therefore I deserve. I achieve, therefore I am loved. So literally my self-love, my self-worth was based on my achievements. So this took me, it allowed me to progress in life, but it didn't come from a nice, grounded, wholesome place. Then I graduated myself and I started my corporate career. And this is the part of the story that I did a career in marketing. I went from being an assistant brand manager, which is the very, very first job that you can get as an intern inside of the marketing field. And then I became a marketing director. And during that point, I only had one income stream, which was my salary. If you only have one income stream, you need to start thinking about other income streams right now because it is risky to have just one income stream. Side note. And during that time in my corporate career, my salary went from, all of the numbers that I'm going to give are in euros because I live in Paris, I live in Europe. So all the numbers are in euros. You can do your own math into your own currency if you don't use euros in your country. So my first salary as a junior brand manager, so not as an assistant brand manager, because that's still an internship, but as a junior brand manager, which is basically the first actual job that you get within the marketing field, I had 33k euros per year. And then I did the whole corporate ladder within marketing, blah, 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 junior brand manager, senior brand manager, group manager, and then eventually marketing director. And when I became a marketing director, I was making 100k per year. So I went from 33 to 100k, only having one stream of income, my salary. Now, during this time, I had no savings. I had money in my own money that I was actually quite good at saving because part of that anxious attachment style, I was always saving just in case for the future. I was always hoarding money just in case for the future. But the issue was that I had all of that money in my regular bank account, not even a high yield savings account, not even a savings account that was paying interest. So I had money sitting there, losing its value because of inflation. Even though inflation in Europe is very mild, you're still losing 2%, 3%, 4% every year, whatever the inflation is during that year. And I had the money just sitting there, zero interest rate. I had no investments because I had this belief that investments are too difficult and I cannot do it. And mind you, I studied business and I had financial courses, but they teach you finances for corporations. They don't teach you personal finances. So I had this belief that personal finances, investments were too complicated. So I was hoarding money, it was sitting there, and I had zero interest, zero investments. Then I decided to become a business owner. I decided that I wanted to leave the marketing career and that I wanted to create my own business called Blisstopia that you know. And basically, when I became a business owner, I actually realized that when I was in the corporate world, I was actually protected. I didn't need to think about my own money mindset. I had my salary every month, things were easy, it was my savings were growing. I was not investing, I was not saving with interest. But when I became a business owner, I realized, because you start looking into all of your things, if you think a relationship is a mirror, having a business is the ultimate mirror. It's going to show you all of your shit. It's going to bring all of the shit to the surface. But it's an amazing thing because then you can look into them. So I became a business owner and my lack mindset appeared. And I realized, oh my God, there's a whole topic that I need to work on. And I realized that money mindset was the thing that was going to make or break my business. And basically, I became absolutely obsessed with the topic for several years. I would say at least 2 years obsessed with the topic. I took absolutely every money mindset course that I found, read absolutely every book that I found, or money mindset, wealth, etc. I listened to hours and hours and hours of podcasts. I did the whole thing. I trained myself with the best people. I trained myself with Tony Robbins. I trained myself with Joe Dispenza. I trained with Manifestation Babe. I trained with Samantha Daly. I trained with Jess Martin. I trained with so many people. And then I read so many books. And then I listened to so many podcasts. I literally became obsessed with the topic. I think that's kind of like because I was born in the cusp between Libra and Scorpio on the 22nd of October. I think this is the bit where you can see my Scorpio side. When I go into something, I go all in nonstop, obsessively. So when I went into money mindset, I was like, my God, I'm going to find out what is happening here and I'm going to transform this. And you know that I love deep, deep, deep work. And I went all in. I was like, okay, let's look into my beliefs. Let's look into my subconscious mind. What's happening in my body? What are my associations with money? What is my biggest fear with money? Everything, absolutely everything. What is my attachment style? I wanted to know it all, inside out, the topic. And the result of all of those years of just digging super deep, learning were amazing. All of that, deep work that I went into, all of that intellectual vortex that I went into ended up in providing me now with the best financial shape of my life. I now have 3 streams of income. I have income from my business, Blisstopia. I have income from rent from an apartment I bought in Madrid when I was living there. And I have also dividends that I receive from my stocks. I also have a peace fund. So basically, I know that many people in the industry call this an emergency fund. Do not call an emergency fund, because if you say you have an emergency fund, what are you attracting? Emergencies. If you say that you have a peace fund, what are you attracting? Peace. So I have a peace fund. I have a flex fund. This flex fund, basically what I do is money, it's there accessible on a high yield savings account. And basically what I do with this money is if I have a surplus of income, I will put it in there. And then if some months, the income changes and I need to take a little bit of that money, I take that money. So basically I provide stability for myself, even though my income can be quite fluctuating because I have a business now. So I have the Peace Fund, the Flex Fund. I have a property in Madrid, an apartment that I bought and that I am now renting. And I have a diversified portfolio of investments. I have ETFs, I have bonds, all sorts of ETFs and all sorts of bonds. I have gold. I have shares in some specific companies that I absolutely love what they do when I truly, truly, truly believe in their mission. For example, they are linked to sustainability and I deeply believe in what they do, or they are linked to empowering women and I deeply believe in what they do. So I have specific shares on those companies. And then I do have art. I bought art in the form of NFTs, so pieces of art. And then basically this company, what they do is they I bought a piece of art, and basically what they do is they rent that piece and they put it in museums, and then you get a return from that. So now I have the best financial shape of my life. I have 3 income streams, and all of these wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for all of the money mindset work that I did. Money mindset, working on your money mindset is the only way to become wealthy. Literally, the only way to become wealthy is to work on your subconscious mind, because all of the financial decisions that we take, the actions, that's only 5% of your mind, and that's only 5% of the equation. But what your subconscious mind is doing is 95%. So unless we work on that 95%, either we're not going to take any financial decision, or we're going to take poor financial decisions, or we're going to take a financial decision and it's going to backfire because our subconscious mind is not ready for wealth. So working on your money mindset is the only way to become wealthy. Now, I did share in one of my previous episodes some of my biggest money manifestations to date. So if you're interested in that, you can go back to some of the episodes. I think it was episode 155 or something like that. 556, 155 or 56, where I share some of the biggest manifestations that I've had up until now. And my idea, literally, behind this podcast episode is to share with you what is possible. What is possible? We can come from a low middle class in a very unstable country, and you can become a wealthy woman with 3 income streams and counting. The average millionaire has 7. So I still have room to go. I have 3. I have 3. We still have room to go. But what I want to share with you is it is possible to change. It is possible to have a much better financial shape. And this is in your hands. When you work on your money mindset, you open up to wealth from all different kinds of sources. It can come from your salary. It can come from a business. It can come from rent. It can come from dividends. It can come from buying assets that appreciate over time. It can come from you winning a prize. It can come from tax returns. It can come from completely unexpected revenue. It can come from you receiving free hotels, free upgrades. Money can come to you in so many ways, not just your salary, not just your business. It can come from so many other ways. And this is the beauty. When you work on your money mindset, you open up the floodgates of abundance, and you're ready for abundance. You're ready to claim abundance. The universe is going to shower you in so many different ways, and you just need to be there, open to receive. And when you receive, say, thank you. I received this. Thank you. Just receiving all of the abundance that the universe is sending your way. So if you're ready to step into this level of wealth, abundance, overflow, you need to know this. My new program is out. Wealth Codes is out. It's open for enrollment. Wealth Codes is the money mindset program that will take your relationship with money and your finances to the next level in 9 powerful weeks. When you join Wealth Codes, you receive a powerful money manifestation method. This is the method that I use, and this is all of the money mindset content that you need to know. You will receive 9 mind-blowing modules. I've literally curated this after working with several clients on private coaching. I realized there are 9 fundamental topics that always come up. So I've structured the program with those 9 fundamental topics that come out, and I created 9 mind-blowing modules just for you. You're going to have 5 live sessions with me. You and I, we're going to be there, and a bunch of other magnificent women. We're going to have an opening ceremony, 3 live Q&As, so you can ask all of your questions, and then we're going to have a closing ceremony. You will also get access to the Vault. The Vault is the place where you will find a bunch of meditations, a bunch of hypnosis, EFT tapping, sound healing, podcast episodes, books, recommendations, all of the things, different resources that are going to elevate your frequency. Then you're going to have access to an electric group chat with other badass, ambitious women just like you. And then you're going to have lifetime access to this program. So basically what this means is you're joining this edition. This is the first edition of this program. I am so excited to be launching this. And when you join, you get lifetime access. So I am going to be upgrading the program in the future, adding new things, new material, new perspectives, and you're going to get access to all of these future upgrades in the future as well when you join now in this first edition. So this is for you if you have a salary or an income that is okay on paper, but money is still an issue. You've tried to put your finances under control in the past, but for some reason, it's just not working. You know you're meant for more freedom, more fun, more peace, more expansion, more luxury. You're ready to commit for 9 weeks to take your relationship with money to the next level. You're ready to invest in yourself, both in terms of your time for 9 weeks and financial resources. And you know that you want to learn the fundamentals of money mindset and money manifestation from a coach you like, know, and trust. So Wealth Codes is now open for enrollment. I am so happy to welcome all of the amazing women that are going to join. I cannot wait to see all of your names pop up in there so I can know who are going to be the next wealthy women. And just remember that doors closed on August 3rd at midnight. So if you want to get into this program, we only have 2 weeks to get you inside of this program. August 3rd at midnight, doors close. So get in while you can, because we are going to expand into a whole new level together. I cannot wait to see these women. I'm already visualizing an amazing group of women. We're going to have so much fun. I can already see the group chat popping with really fun pictures, fun comments. We're going to have a lot of fun together. We're going to expand ourselves into a new level of abundance. And just remember, as we start closing this episode, just remember that regardless of your age, regardless of your skills, regardless of where you are in life right now, regardless of the mistakes that you've made, regardless of the family that you were born into, regardless of the macroeconomic context of your country, abundance is your birthright. You are here on planet Earth, living, breathing. You deserve abundance. Everybody deserves love. Everybody deserves peace. Everybody deserves abundance. And you deserve abundance as well. So I am going to see you inside of Wealth Codes. Get your name in there. I want to see you in there, stepping up into the wealthy woman you were born to be. See you inside of Wealth Codes. You're going to find the link in the show notes. Click the link, get in there. I will see you inside of Wealth Codes to blow your mind and take you to the next level in life. See you inside of Wealth Codes. And in the meantime, in Blisstopia we trust.